Paltrocast.
Is there coffee or an energy drink next to you?
Actually, I've had 2 cups of coffee. I have a glass of water. I've had breakfast, had a day-old bagel with some salmon in it, which I recooked. Life is good.
Well, are you dialing in on the record here? Are you dialing in from Eastern Long Island? I'm dialing in from Long Island myself.
Yeah, I live in East Setauket.
Yeah, East Talkit. You're there for a while. Dee Snider was there. I think Mick Foley was there. Secretly, the entertainment capital of the world, right?
You know, there have been over the. I'm considered an islander. This is my home. Has been since we moved here, 73. I've
Yeah,
moved around once or twice, like I've fiddled around in LA, fiddled around down in Florida, but this has been home. I've always lived here at some time or another. Even before I had a house, I lived down West Meadow Beach in a cottage.
mhm.
Everybody else bought houses except me. And so I was living in a cottage down on West Meadow Beach. You ever been there?
I know East Meadow. I don't know West Meadow Beach. No.
They used to have all these cottages there. And one summer, I lived there. And I lived there until November, October, December rolled around. They shut the water off, and a good friend of mine, Joe Basirico, delivered a cord of wood for me. So I had fire, and I would go out and get. And then it was time to go on the road. Fortunately, we went to where did we go? Duluth. I think we started our tour, so it was pretty weird. But
Wow.
I'm an islander. Yeah, this is home.
Before I ask you about your great new record and all that, just one more Long Island question.
Yeah,
I'm dialing in from Long Beach. Is this a town that you'd ever been to or spent time in?
Long Beach. Don't they have a theater there?
Back in the day, there was some stuff. There's been some venues. Now there's comedy shows, but it's more of this beach town that's close to JFK Airport that Billy Crystal's from. Joan Jett lives here.
Joni. Joni is fabulous. I love her. She is so cool. We've done a number of shows over the years, and she is beautiful and cool and a great singer, and a really good guitar player too. So
Sure.
yeah, well, think about the songs that she's done. I mean, she's like I said, we've done a couple of shows with her, and like it's like everyone's a hit, and like you
Yeah.
sometimes tend to forget that. No, I love Joni. She's great. She's really cool. One of my
Well,
favorites.
speaking of hits, right behind you, there's a Sun Records box,
I
and
see that.
I I know that the new Foghat record is out through a division of Sun. Now, did you put that there because the Foghat record is there, or have you always been a Sun Records guy?
They gave us this our tray well years ago, right, when we first started working with them. Selecto hits,
Yes.
and they're fantastic people. Our manager rather, loves them because they send her invoices, and every 3 months we get money from them. I mean, that's unheard of from no, Selecto hits, really, really cool people. Sun Records, I mean, first records that I ever really listened to and bought were there. Johnny Cash, Jerry D. Lewis, early Elvis Presley. Now,
Mhm.
early Elvis Presley, that was something else. That
Yeah.
was magic.
Yeah. Memphis has Sun Records, Ardent, Stax. It's a shame that more people don't call it Music City, USA. Nashville gets all the buzz for that.
Well, Nashville is like a major metropolis. I've been to Memphis a number of times. I've been a presenter at the Memphis Blues Awards a number of times, a
Mhm.
couple of times anyway. And I got to meet Buddy Guy, one of my musical heroes.
You
And I
mean
met,
Scott Holt's former boss, Buddy Guy?
that's right,
Okay.
that's right. And I've also got to meet him since then. There was one time we can talk. I can talk about this on or off the record, but Scott Kemp was over at the house out on Long Island one time, and Buddy Guy was playing in towards the city at the theater. What was the theater in?
Westbury, the NYCB Theater at Westbury Music Fair.
Not Westbury. Where was he playing, Linda? Um, in towards.
Patchogue.
We played there. What are you doing? Where did we see Buddy Guy in Paramount Theatre?
Oh,
Thank
Paramount in Huntington. Beautiful
I'm, old,
venue.
I'm older than our manager, so my memory's not quite as good. Anyway, so we went to see Buddy Guy there, and of course, because Scott, and Buddy are friends, and we get in line backstage to go in and sort of pay homage to the man.
Mhm.
And then Scott and I get in there, and we're talking to Buddy. I've met him a couple of times before, like on one of the cruises and stuff like that. Beautiful guy, apart from like being one of the greatest blues singers and guitar players ever.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there talking, and on the table in front of him, he's got a bottle of 100-year-old Hennessy cognac, and he sees me eyeing it, and he says, would you like some? I go, I wasn't driving. Scott was driving. So I said, yeah, I would. Thank you. He said, help yourself. I poured myself some cognac and I was sipping it. And we were there for about 5 minutes, and it was time to go for somebody else to come in. And as we're going back downstairs to get out in the audience, Scott says to me, he doesn't offer that to anybody. And I said, well, he probably figured an Englishman would appreciate a Hennessy. So we laughed about that. Yeah, Buddy is, he's claiming this is his last tour. What is he, 87 now, I think. Scott stays in touch with him.
Mhm.
He claims it's his last tour, but who knows with Buddy? He's one of those people that just says, no, I think I'll go and play.
Yeah, blues people don't retire and shouldn't retire.
No,
But
I'm not going to retire either. I'm going to roll till I'm old and rock till I drop. Hold on. I don't feel very well.
well, in your case, you have not slowed down in recent years because there's been, 50 to 100 gigs a year. There's been Foghat Wine. I remember the Under the Influence cover record. There's this new record, etc. So it seems like you're not retiring anytime soon. You're not going to do the farewell tour gimmick. And the reason I say that is most bands seem to be using that as a gimmick when they say the last tour because they're trying to get you to come out when you normally wouldn't have come out to see them.
No, we're not as devious as that. Foghat is not a devious rock and roll brand. We
No.
say like, hey, we're here. Come on out. We're going to roll till we're old and rock till we drop. I don't. I guess sometimes I'm doing okay at the moment, health wise, and everybody's a bit younger me in the band, and I'm feeling great. But I guess you never really know, and maybe it is a way to sort of get the people to come and see you. I know the Who have done a couple of farewell tours. They're a great
The Who's first farewell tour was, I think, 82. So the Stones, wasn't Steel Wheels supposed to be the farewell tour because Bill Wyman was retiring?
Right. And what did Mick say? Bass.
If I'm not going to be singing Satisfaction when I'm 30, I think that was his quote.
Bass. How can it be? I'll play bass. No, the Stones, one of my favorite bands. They're great. I often reference one of their songs like, I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. I like it. Yes, I do. I like it.
Yeah. And that shows through the music. So one of my obsessions or questions that I like to ask British artists who spent a lot of time in the States were the Foghat hits in Europe the same as they were in the US?
I don't think so. When we first started, when we left Savoy Brown, I'll go back a bit. The manager of Savoy, when we decided to leave, we said, we'll stay as long as Kim needs us. And I remained friends with Kim over the years.
Right. He co-wrote Driving On.
Right. He co-wrote 3 songs on the new album. Right.
Right.
And I met with Harry. Dave and I met with Harry and said, look, we're going to be leaving, but we'll stay in the band until Kim puts his new band together. And Harry Simmons, the manager of Savoy Brown, said, well, I'll blackball you. I'll stop you from working in England and the States because he manages Chicken Shack and Savoy Brown, which were like 2 of the big bands in in Europe, and certainly over here, Savoy Brown was really big. And I even went to see Terry Ellis and Chris Wright, who ran Chrysalis Agency. And they said, we can't book you because Harry said he would take the bands away from us, which I thought was pretty shitty anyway, really. Yeah. But I had no idea why. I mean, if I was a manager, I would say, you want me to manage the new band? All right, and then have it. But Harry obviously had no real foresight, I don't think. Kim and I remained friends no matter what. I don't think Kim and I ever had a crossword. It was no, I really don't ever recall. We always got on well. It was always about the music anyway. We would flirt with various substances over the years, but we were friends and we enjoyed each other's company musically. So there was never a problem with that. We went off and did our thing, and when our record was released, we got airplay over here in the States with "I Just Want to Make Love to You," and we came here, and it felt like coming home anyway.
Yeah. So where I'm going with that is a lot of bands, they're the priority of the record label in this territory, but not this territory. So then when they tour the US, the set list is entirely different than it is when they play in England. Like, for example, the band OMD, when they tour the US, they play the song If You Leave 2 or 3 times over the course of the night. And it's not even the set list when they play in Europe. It shows this was the hit here, not the hit here. So, were the Foghat hits pretty much the same as the set list, the same if you're playing here as in England?
Our records get played over there, but we never had hit records like we have in the States and other parts of the world. I've been informed we had hits in Australia and South America where we've never been. And
never been?
No, never been. No.
Oh.
Well, we used to have a manager who had no real foresight. Actually,
she's no the manager is no Linda.
Nice. A song was written about him. I don't appreciate you. Hold on. Well, I'm fast forwarding here.
Yeah.
No, we played the Sweden Rock Festival a couple of times. We did a 3-week tour right at the beginning of our career in England with another band, and but that's about it, really. We did a show in Germany, one in Belgium, but we're going to try and get there next year. We've been talking to a bunch of promoters over there, and also during the COVID nightmare, we were booked to a festival in England at the what? Rambling Man Festival, right?
Oh,
of course, it got cancelled, and then 2 years later, the third time it was on for sale, they cancelled it again, so we didn't get to go. I'd love to go there. The thing is, I love playing it, and I guess to answer your point, we'd play the same set anywhere we go. We change it from time to time. Every year, we add 5 or 6 different songs to the set to change it around, because we play mostly in the US, Canada, and Mexico. But no, there's probably half a dozen songs we have to play forever and ever, amen. Which is, I'm fine with that, because if you have 6 songs that basically your audience is going to be familiar with one way or another. I mean, they're all in rotation, like Slow Ride, of course, I Just Want to Make Love to You, Stone Blue, Driving Wheel. We actually have a ballad which we played last year, but we had a lot of people complaining we're not playing it this year. Third Time Lucky, which was actually one of our highest charting singles. A ballad. Actually, Dave called it. It's a slow rocker, Roger. It's not a ballad.
It's a slow rocker. Well, if there's enough volume behind it, you can say power ballad.
Yeah, no, it's played with a certain gentleness. It's a love song. It's Third Time Lucky. It brings a tear to the biker's eyes.
Well, that actually ties into one of the last things I want to ask. Two or three more questions, and then I'll let you go. First one is,
Right, this is good.
Well, thank you. Well, Foghat is thought of as being a biker band. When did you kind of realize that?
Well, there are a number of songs about driving wheel, ride. I think what happened was we were on a compilation album about 20 odd years ago, a, a biker compilation album, and they had two or three of our songs, Slow Ride. So, and oddly enough, Dave didn't drive. Lance and Dave didn't drive, so he wasn't really familiar with any kind of riding or biking terms. And so a couple of songs like Road Fever, he said to me, he said, Rod, so what sort of terms can you use for like driving and stuff? So I got a couple of lines in there. What was it? Give her the gun, Bourbon Street, here I come. A couple of that I stole from my grandfather, actually.
Mhm.
World War One. But other than that, that's all I can really think of. We're a southern band. We come from the Thames Delta.
The other southern. That's it's a very funny thing because I don't think that the majority of people who love your music realize that you're not actually a southern band. In other words, by being a band that was never about the image, that was about the rock, I
It's
would
about
bet
music.
that a certain percentage of people show up and go, "He's British?" Every
Yeah,
single show.
he talks funny. Uh, the thing is, I we grew up listening to American music. I mean,
Right.
this is the land of where it all comes from: blues, jazz, rock and roll, country, gospel. This is the land of music, and it
Mhm.
has a wonderful way of just like everything gets joined in, and I think that's what makes this country so, for me anyway, such a great land, because you have this wonderful melting pot of
Mhm.
people and music. If only we could get the rest of the shit right. Uh, but seriously, I think that's one of the strongest things about this land that I love, and this land that I've used as this is my adopted home. And it's because of the music. And even to this day, America gives music to the world, with blues, R&B, and contemporary musicians. Everybody looks to this land for inspiration, I think, in more ways than one. So let's get our shit together, all right? No, sorry about that. No, no, not allowed to talk politics, just
Well,
any
I'll
music.
I'll
Sorry
change
about
the I'll change the topic for my last question before I let you go because you've given me so much great information beyond the many years of great music, Roger. The last question is what's the number 2 hobby besides music and family for you? Because you're kind of a mystery all these years later.
Oh, well, there's two hobbies: um, sex with the girlfriend and wife, and fishing.
So
Those are my two favorite things, other than music and the family. I have a wonderful family. I have three beautiful daughters that are every single one of them is has a unique way of dealing with life, and fabulous people, and fantastic women too. I have a granddaughter. I have a number of step grandchildren, nieces and nephews. My nieces are just, I love my nieces to pieces. They're just some of the best people I know. I have a couple of two grandnieces, two grandnephews.
mhm.
So yeah, I have a large family, and I'm an islander. I live in Long Island. Hey, how you doing?
I was surprised you didn't say, and my main hobby is the wine that we sell through Foghat, and you can purchase that through our website. You didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't drink as much as I ought to. Maybe I really have more than like half a bottle a night with dinner. Though occasionally, the wine is so good you have to finish. You can't leave half a bottle of wine. So, but usually, wine is always a way of, I think, having conversations with somebody, like with the band. The best thing like about this band is you know, we all like to share wine after the show, not before, never before. I played with a couple of hangovers over the years, but not anymore. And you sit down and you hang out after the show and talk about stuff and enjoy it. One of the things that I take from recently, Scott is, I love Scott. He is, yeah, he calls me his older brother, which I'll take as a compliment. But since he joined the band 2 years ago, and I've known him since 2014, we played together. He's a fantastic human being, a brilliant, brilliant guitar player and singer. Anyway, we did a show in, what was it? El Dorado, Arkansas. And the people were really terrific. It was a really, really good show. And we had a good time. After the show, actually, we played an hour and 45 minutes that night because we could. And we're sitting backstage and we're having a glass of wine. And Scott says to me, he says, "Hey, Rog," he said, "isn't this great?" He said, "How many jobs do you have when you finish working? People stand up and clap and applaud and cheer you." I've never quite looked at it like that, but I'm very fortunate to have done this for like well over 60 years. And now and the band that I play in now, they're real bandmates in every sense of the word. Brian Bassett is a fantastic lead and slide guitar player. He's also our engineer and producer and co-producer of the band. He's been with us 27 years, I think. Rodney O'Quinn's been with us 7 years. He was handpicked by Craig McGregor, our previous bass player, when Craig couldn't play anymore. And Scott Holt has he's always been around the band since 2014. And when Charlie Hume decided to retire 2 years ago, we had 3 days notice. He sent a text, or was it an email to our manager and said, "I won't be at rehearsals, retiring." But that was okay. We hardly missed a beat. But Charlie, if you're listening, give me a call. I haven't heard from him since then. Charlie was a great singer and a large part of this band for 20 odd years. So that was a little strange, but I don't think it's easy to retire. You know, I don't know what I would say to the band if like, I'm retiring. I'm not going to say that. I can't say that. The only thing that would stop me from playing is if, you know, my appendages, my hands and my feet don't work anymore. Well, actually, one of the really cool things I think about playing actually musically is I have to remember the arrangements.
So yeah, some people do crossword puzzles or Sudoku. You do playing drums in a famous rock band.
Yeah, I have to remember arrangements. Occasionally, we move them around a little bit.
Well,
it's called jamming.
Paltrocast.